Alright. Hey there guys. Sorry about all the delays today with starting the stream. Been a really chaotic week. Got sick with the flu last weekend, so that's why there was no stream then. And then all week I've been dealing with some stuff at work. My boss left and a whole bunch of other things, so that's been kind of chaotic. So today I'm just going to take things a little easier. Originally I had planned to do some really neat stuff with mathematical numbers and showing off some of the neat tricks you can do with pi in your games, just to kind of celebrate Pi Day. I don't know if that's really going to happen as much today. What I'm going to do is I'm probably just going to go through and show off some tips and tricks for making your game run more smoothly again, as well as going over a question that was posted onto YouTube for me about how to do something, and really that's going to be it. I'm not planning to do a whole lot more than that, mainly just because I'm kind of tired. I've been dealing with the flu all week, so I'm not not quite up to snuff on everything. So let me go through real quick and find this message. YouTube settings. Is there a way for me to view my messages? Additional features, maybe. Community, maybe. Messages. Here we are. So the question was, how can we do something, such as, transparencies behind trees, so to make a tree become transparent when you walk behind it. So to kind of go over that real quick, I'm going to use the RPG engine that we created before. So let me go ahead and just get that pulled down from GitHub real quick. Game was the one. Let's go through now and go to my GitHub. It's been a long week. Okay, so let's see here. Roll call. That was the one. So we're going to go through now, and we are going to make sure that that is all synced up, which it is. And I'm going to really quickly take this, and we're going to spawn a new branch, which is original. And we're going to go back to master now. So this is where we're going to be making these changes. Okay. So, running this again, we have roll call, which is our basic game here. We're able to go through and do things like moving around and go over here and talk to this guy. So pretty much the same as before. So the question is, how do we do something like create a tree that the player will be able to be transparent behind? So let's go through real quick now and discuss that. So basically, when you're doing those kind of transparencies, what you want to be able to do is essentially have two separate objects there in order for collision. So you have the tree trunk, which is the main collision object. When you run into that, usually the player bounces off of it or whatever. So that's the first thing, is that trunk portion. And then the second part is the actual tree, the branches and stuff that go up. And so basically what you want to do is when the player collides with that, the entire tree should become transparent. Because basically if you're colliding with that, it means that you're behind it in that case, at least from that top-down perspective. So let's go through real quick, and we'll go through and add like a tree entity. And the tree entity is going to consist of two parts. It's going to have, and actually what we can do is we can go ahead and have these enemies up here be what we do that with. So right now we are always on top of them. That's not going to quite work. So this is just going to be a simple way to show it. It's, again, not the best way to do it, but it'll work. So let's go through and add main guy. So we're adding him last right now, so we need to add him before, so that he is always drawn last. This might not work the way I want. We'll see. So now you'll see that we are below this this guy, exactly how we wanted it to be. So what we want to do is when we go under him, we want to have that be transparent. So really, it's just a matter of making it so that when we collide there, we add a certain amount of transparency onto that guy. So let's go here. Let's come down here to the collision group, and we want to have it so that when we collide with an enemy, except in this case we'll make it mob 1, mob 2. And so what we'll do is, I think we gave a group ID. Let's see here. So do that. And the entity group ID, oops, that was not right. Let's try that again. So come here and let's check what his group ID is. So his group ID is 5 for that guy. And for this guy, I believe it'll be 4 then? Maybe 6. Oh, it's 5 as well. Cool. Okay. So, case 5. Great. So what we want to do is we want to set the color of that entity to be SF color color is there. No. So we can just do that for right now. This is going to cause some problems, and you'll see why in a second. But for now, we'll just let it go. So you'll notice he completely vanishes when we collide with him. So basically, we don't really want that either, though. We want it to be so that he is partially transparent, not fully though. So let's do SF color see through. So we do SF color, and so the red, green, blue should actually all be 255, and the opacity is normally going to be that. So let's go through real quick. Do that. What you'll notice is that they're going to turn completely white. So now that we have that, let's go through now and modify this a bit. So we want to do entity get color, and see through should now have its A value set to 128. What that'll do is it'll make them partially see-through instead of fully see-through, so that when you go through and collide with them, you get this nice little see-through effect. So now we can see it. So what we want to do is now we want to go through and have the color go back to normal when we aren't colliding. So what that means is we need to come down here to our source folder, go to entities, and open up enemy. And we're just going to be lazy about this. Every time we go through and update the entity, we're going to go through and we're going to take that color and we're just going to put it through. And it's no longer going to be see-through. So what this will do, in theory, is it'll go through and not quite work. This is partially caused by the fact that so effectively what's going on is this method is being called after we update the entities. So what we really want to do to fix that is set it up so that it knows that there is a collision there type thing. Basically, we want to set it up so that it knows that we are colliding with the enemy and that it should not set its color to go back to normal. So what we can do for that is we can come up here to enemy.h. Go ahead and just make a public variable that is int state 0. We don't really want to have that though, like that. And we'll come over here to enemy, this state to 0. So what this will be is if the state is equal to 0, then we do that. Else, if state is greater than 0, state minus equals 1. So that'll go through and bring the state down. So now what we can do with our main guy is reinterpret cast, and we're going to reinterpret it as an enemy. I'm just going to include this here for now. Enemy entity and then temp state is equal to 5, and then temp that. So now, as we go up through here, it'll go through and become transparent, so we can kind of see where we are still. And then as we come down, it will go back to normal. And of course, this will still work for the yellow guy. It'll have a yellow transparency like normal because we're doing it based on some other stuff. And again, you could use this for trees. What you would essentially do is you would take your tile for the tree branches and such, and you'd say, okay, if there's a collision with it, we just make it partially see-through like that. The big thing you have to remember is to keep the colors consistent. You don't want it to be fully invisible because that's going to look a little weird. You're going to forget, okay, there's a tree there. But, you know, it's a simple little effect. Gives it this nice ability so that you can really more easily keep track of the player. So that's how you would go about doing that. That's the easiest way that I can think of to do it. I'm sure there's better ways. I'm sure there's more complicated ways. That's just my easy, quick fix for that. So that's kind of the first thing that I've had some questions on. So the next thing that I've seen some questions on is the collision methods. So there was a recent question on somebody's game running very, very, very slowly. What this can be caused by is too many collisions. So I was going to dedicate an entire video of this last weekend, however, due to the flu and such, I couldn't really go over it as much. Collisions are a tricky thing. All of the collisions we're doing in these videos are very much the bare minimum. Not when I say bare minimum, I'm saying you don't want to use these in a professional game, generally speaking. It's just not the best way to do it. The problem you run into with this is that our collision system is just not robust enough. It has issues. So, for example, we go through and we check the collisions of every sprite in the game. Even if 2 sprites are on the other side of the map, we're still checking those collisions. And that's kind of a dangerous thing to do. It's more memory intensive. It's got a lot of flaws with speed and with efficiency. It's just not good. You run into these n-squared problems where you're checking, you might check this enemy against 5 enemies, but then you check each of those 5 enemies with that one enemy, even though there's no need to. So there's a lot of ways to solve that. First thing is using what's called a quad tree. Quad trees, basically, you break up your map into sections, and you say, okay, everything in this section has to be colliding because, they're in the same section. Potentially there's a collision. So you only check the sprites that are all within that section. Whereas if a sprite is in another section, you don't even need to worry about it. So that's one way that you can really, really efficiently narrow down your collisions. The other thing is keeping track of what has already been checked. If you're checking between a collision between a bullet and an enemy, you don't need to check whether or not, if you know that your bullet collided with your enemy, then you know your enemy collided with your bullet. It's a two sides of the same coin that you don't need to double check for. Another big thing that you'd want to do, and this is something I did in another game I'm working on, is only check collisions for objects which need them. So to give you an example, it's a lot easier to check for collisions with your bullets than it's going to be to check, with your enemies than it will be with your bullets. And here's why. Your enemies can collide with the player, they can collide with the bullets, they can collide with the walls, they can collide with a variety of things. So if you check those, you can check the collisions for all of your enemies, and that's all there is to it. Once there's a collision with your enemies, you're done. If you check it with your bullets, you still have to check the collisions for your enemies. And so you now get into this issue where you're checking more objects redundantly, effectively. So the best way to do it really is to only check those that you need to. Now obviously bullets can hit walls and stuff as well, so you have to decide, okay, should I have collisions for the walls or the bullets? Maybe the walls are better in the end and the bullets, because those are the 2 objects that are going to be collided with. I haven't really looked into that as much, so I can't speak professionally on that. What is better to check, though, I'm sure that is a huge consideration in most games. So that's something else to keep an eye out on. I'm not going to really go through collisions this video. I might do it in the future, but collisions are a big thing on here. The other thing you'll want to make sure that you do is keep an eye on what resources you free up. I know that's something I haven't really emphasized, and maybe in the future I'll go over that, but there's really an importance to keeping track of what objects you still have memory-wise and what you don't. Especially when loading levels and such, it's going to be a lot easier for you to just keep track of it all and make sure that you don't lose things just to be on the safe side. The other thing I wanted to check, just give me 1 second. I'm not sure. So we'll have another video in the future of collisions. Today's video is really just going to be short. It's going to be me talking about some stuff. I really don't have a lot planned for right now. I'm kind of gearing up for the game development competition, which to kind of go over that again one more time, don't forget that Coda Game is coming up next weekend. I'm going to be spending most of my time covering that and talking about some of the neat things we have coming up for that. That's weird. It was working before. Page seems to be down. Ah, scheduled maintenance. Well, unfortunately that's down for maintenance. But we have some prizes. I've gone ahead and posted them on there. The cool ones that I'm excited about, just to show you guys, is Google sent us Google Socks. I don't know why, but I personally think that this is like the coolest thing ever. I've been to other competitions before, and I've never seen something like this. I think that's really cool. So shout out to you, Google, for being so awesome with that. I've got a question recently about why the prizes don't seem to be as exciting. This is because it's just me running it, guys. I understand that Google has money and they have a ton of tech and stuff, but I understand completely that it's one person running it. It's just me. It'd be like giving some random guy on the street $100 or $300 and saying, I'm trusting you to invest this in a $1 billion idea, or something like that, or he says I'm going to go out there and put this to charity or a charity, and you can't guarantee that they're going to do that. So I understand that these are smaller prizes. They're really testing the waters. So a lot of this is going to come down to how well successful this is. I'd love to do this again in the future, but I think that we just have to, enjoy it while we can. Sorry, reading another comment. But yeah, so I hope everyone will participate. I really am excited for this. It's gonna be fun. I'm expecting great things from it. So, outside of that, is there any other big things I want to go over in today's video? I know that today's a little lackluster. I've been getting all excited about these and not a lot's been going on. What we can do as well, maybe right now, is let's go through and let's expand this maybe a little bit. I don't really want to go through and expand it too much, though. I'd rather work on something that's worthwhile for you guys. That's why I'm kind of hesitant on this. So if you guys have ideas and requests, and more requests, just let me know and we can go through and make those. I do keep an eye on all my messages on YouTube and such, and on Twitter and such, so feel free to shout out to me there. If you guys have ideas for stuff, let me know. I'm just kind of going through and doing my own thing at this point. Something else that I'm considering doing as well is a WebGL series or a web browser series. I recently went through and made this, which was just a simple WebGL first-person shooter. It's nothing too special. Just kind of a basic WebGL shooter where you have mouse controls and stuff. You can collide with the walls and all that. It's nothing really special. I don't know. I just kind of went through and made it, but I've been thinking about doing that. The other thing I might do is I might start putting these just straight to YouTube rather than doing it on Twitch first. I know that the live interaction is nice and stuff, but I've seen a lot more usage on there rather than on Twitch. So I might go through and just do that instead. But yeah, so sorry for the short video today, guys. I don't see a lot of people online, so I'm going to head out a little bit early, get some rest and stuff. But thank you guys for tuning in. I know it's kind of short. I know that there wasn't a whole lot of crazy stuff today, and I apologize for that. I really wasn't sure what else to do with this video. So, if you guys have suggestions, feel free to give them out. Video will be on YouTube momentarily. I know that this was super short. I don't really expect it to be that long in the future, I guess. I don't know. Just not a whole lot more to say about this. Thank you guys for tuning in. See you guys next weekend for the GitHub or for the game development competition. See you guys later.